Coach, I know you're a guy who looks ahead, obviously, but just one quick thing about that historic win for your program. Where did that plane ride home rank amongst others that you've had in the past?
It was a tired plane ride. I told the guys with that game such respect for the opponent, Louisville, that we knew we were going to play extremely hard, and I think that's what the guys did. So we had a lot of exhausted guys in that locker room after the game. I don't think you can play much harder than we did, certainly in the spurts in that game. So then we got caught up in some kind of delay at the tarmac. What is a tarmac? Carlos, what's a tarmac? We had a delay at the tarmac, so we sat in the bus for quite a while. But just like in life, when you win, it doesn't matter if the food's a little cold. Nobody cares. Everybody's still hugging the nutritionist. Doesn't matter if the bus driver takes the wrong turn. Everybody's, oh, it's okay, John. Nobody really had a problem sitting at the tarmac for an hour because we won. If we'd have come up on the other end of the game, then all those things get blown up. So that's like life.
Just Chris Clark. It seems like he can just do everything for you guys. And what are you impressed with most about his game, with his versatility?
But Chris is a good player. Talked about it before. To me, he's kind of a positionless guy, which is a huge compliment. This is basically, where professional basketball, in my opinion, has gone, and college is quickly following suit. Much more important than any position. You're a three, you're a four. Hey, these are things I can do. Coach Knight would always talk about, the definition of a guard was somebody that could dribble, pass, and shoot. And if you couldn't dribble, pass, and shoot, then you were a forward. So we had a lot of 5'10" forwards out there on the recruiting trail we'd watch play. But, Chris is a guy that can impact the game in a lot of ways. He's a fierce competitor, but he also has an unselfishness about him. He's definitely not hunting stats. He's hunting wins, and that's something I really respect about him.
Talked in the past about how big of basketball junkies these guys are and how much they love the game. I know maybe it's easier when you have doctors on your side, but how hard is it when you see a guy who wants to play so badly and you kind of have to tell him, listen, your health is first and this is just what's best for kind of your health going forward?
We talking about Ramsey? Yeah, Ramsey's continuing to work really hard. Hasn't been a day yet where he hasn't improved in some way, but it's a real simple thing. Not going to play him until he's 100%. And he's working really hard to get into that 100%. What day will that come? It's literally day to day. So he's practiced more each day, and we hope that he'll return quickly. He does really want to play. He's begging me to play. But there's some things that are more important with all of our players than just one game. But I think he'll be back out there sooner than later.
And then Southern Miss, what's kind of your quick scouting breakdown on them?
Yeah, first of all, I have great respect for Coach. We played his team last year when he was in Louisiana, and simply stated, he's just a guy that can coach. He's got a junior college background like myself, got his chance to coach the Division I level, and just, simply stated, got it done. Had a really good team and program, is very worthy of this next opportunity at Southern Miss. So we know it's going to be a well-coached team. We know it's going to be a team that comes in with a plan. We know it's going to be a team that takes some things away from us defensively and challenges us some on offense. So with great respect for Coach, it's where it starts with those guys. And then they're a team that's improving. They play in the best basketball lately. Got a big home win the other night, starting to get healthy. So we have a lot of respect for this team, and they have our full attention.
With the win in New York, was that you guys just taking a bigger step forward, or was it just, like you've been saying, some shots going in for you, shots not defense playing well, and kind of those couple plays that determine a game?
Well, to me, there's two things you have to do to win a Division I game. You got to play really hard, and that's all these things: compete, be tough, overcome adversity, play for the next guy. I mean, you got to battle. You got to play hard. And then the second thing is you got to play well. And there's no question that we played extremely hard in the Garden. Whether we can continue that and make that a part of our DNA and consistency this year is yet to be determined. But if we do, I would think that we'd have a pretty good chance of having a good season. Then the second thing is you got to play well. And in a lot of ways we did. We had some of our best big plays on defense. And then we had some different guys step up at the top of that list, Avery Benson with his game and what have you. So I just think it was the next game on the schedule, and it was a game where we played really hard and we played well enough to win.
Kind of singing his praises. Did you get a chance to see any of what JJ did, scoring 100 points?
Yeah, of course. I don't live under a rock. It'd be impossible to not see that. So still very close to the Culver family, not only Jarrett, but Grandma, and JJ, Trey, Regina, and Hiawatha. And so didn't just catch that because JJ had a great individual game. I always follow that. So I also know the nights where, he scores 14 and misses 3 blockouts. So, but no, that's a special family, and obviously doesn't surprise me because JJ works really hard at his game, and we're friends with those guys down at Wayland Baptist. We follow them. We follow Lubbock Christian. We follow South Plains. A lot of pride here in West Texas with the basketball. So not only want to congratulate the crazy, awesome game, but also that they're having a good season right now as well.
You talked about Avery just moments ago. Can you speak a little more about his performance up in New York and the fan base and his former teammates and his teammates are all rallying around him after his hard work he's put in to get to this point?
Yeah, we have a thing we call in our culture, deserve success. You got to work for it. Sometimes it takes a little bit shorter time than you'd expect. Sometimes it takes a long time, but you grind it out. But there's definitely a relationship, I think, in basketball, just like life. The work you put in, here comes the results. Again, it doesn't always happen quickly, which is sometimes a challenge for the players today because, in the world of cell phone and Uber Eats, you press a button, you get whatever you want. It doesn't quite work that way in the world. You got to work and work and work, and, you got to run your own race. As Coach Greenberg, told our team, we got to run your own race. And for Avery, the guy's put in the work from the first day he was here. So it was just really pleasing for all of us in the locker room, not just me, everybody in that locker room, because you know how hard he works. And for him to have a night like that on a big stage was just cool. You're happy for Avery. But the big story, and I hope that it's gotten out a little bit, is he's a good player. This isn't like we just found some guy in the corner of the locker room and said, hey, do you want to play tonight? That's not what happened. This guy's a really good player, and he contributed on last year's conference championship team. He's earned the right to be in this year's rotation, and, he had a great game, but he deserved to have that great game.
Rowe talked about how his hair needed a Twitter page. Have you noticed on Twitter he's got 2 accounts now talking about his hair?
I have not noticed that. I respect guys with hair. I'm much more interested in if you go to class and how you respect people and that kind of stuff than what kind of hairstyle you have. If the guy doesn't miss blockouts and goes to class and plays hard, he can have a ponytail. I really don't care.
I know everyone's been talking about Avery, but I guess just for you, just to kind of see TJ kind of come into his own a little bit in that last game, I guess how rewarding was that for you to kind of see all the hard work kind of pay off for him?
We talking Shannon or Holyfield?
TJ Holyfield.
Yeah. What do you call it, both guys?
I call Terrence, and then Holyfield because you call him Holyfield.
Yeah, I probably should have checked with you, Carlos, so we should have been consistent. But I called TJ, and Holyfield.
Gotcha. Okay.
But it got a little confusing early in the summer for sure.
Yeah.
So we're talking about Holyfield?
Holyfield.
Yeah, good game for Holy. Best news, I think, and the best thing about the whole deal, and I think Holyfield would agree with me, or I know he'd agree with me, is not his best game. Still has a different ceiling that we see some things in him, but certainly a game where he played with some confidence, and certainly a game where he impacted the game in different ways. An assist screen, a basket, a pick and roll, a pick and pop, dribbled the ball, passed the ball, shot the ball. There's all the things that we want, right? There's the diversity. And then on the defensive end, blocks a shot, gets a steal, takes a charge, switches out on a guard, fronts the post. So really with Holyfield, it's this game where there's so many things that he can do. And when he does them, we have a chance. And when he doesn't do them, very, very difficult to imagine how we're going to win this game tonight. So this is the opportunity that he wanted in recruiting. This is not pressure. This is opportunity. That's why he came here with his last year as a grad transfer, is he wanted this role, and he's got it. And he stepped up and played really well in New York, but I didn't think it was his best game, which to me remains the best news in the whole deal.
And with Southern Miss, Coach Jay Ladner, his first year, have you kind of seen his team take an identity so far, or are they still kind of learning on the go right now?
Yeah, it's a good question. Watched every game. I think I mentioned earlier they're improving, no doubt. I think they're playing their best basketball right now. Had a big win the other day. I want to get this right, but I think it was Missouri State. And so I do see coaches' teams, they like to press. They like to be the most aggressive team. And then offensively, he's always been known for just setting some good stuff up for his best players in this. And you definitely see that. But on the other hand, first year, and you see him trying to work with some of the pieces he has. But I think this is a team that's going to get better as the year goes on. I think you guys will see that with your own eyes on Monday at 6 o'clock.
And from your perspective, I know during that 3-game losing streak, you said y'all were still learning, and you obviously won through a victory in the last game. I guess what was the biggest truth-telling that you kind of learned through that 3-game losing streak, kind of like what happened last year where you guys went through that 3-game losing streak and you kind of prevailed through that?
Yeah, we just still search for that consistency and, kind of the relationship between, telling these, especially these young guys like everybody's got to play well here tonight. Like, it just can't be a thing where, a couple of you have a bad game, we think we're going to win. Like, there's at this level, everybody has to play well. Now, you don't have to save the world. You don't have to have the best game of your career, but you got to come out here and you got to do some positives. And I thought, with some of our previous games, we'd have a couple guys playing really well and a couple guys being a little bit off, not only in the whole body of work, but also in possessions. Like 4 guys playing defense, 1 guy taking a possession off, bam, Iowa scores. 4 guys doing what they're supposed to do in offense, 1 guy forgetting what he's supposed to do, bam, Creighton just gets a steal. So I thought this past game, although it's far from perfect, obviously, there was kind of more of a better thing, like where you looked out there and you had 5 guys playing better at one time. So consistency continues to be this thing that we're really striving for.
Talking about TJ Shannon, where do you kind of see him kind of mature in that 3-week road trip, and where do you want him to kind of take the next step in his game?
Yeah, just like all our freshmen, TJ's just learning what this level is all about. And, he's just doing a lot of great things. But again, the most promising thing for our team, for the individual players, where our locker room is right now, is we think there's this other ceiling. We don't think we're anywhere close to where we could be. So that's really optimistic and positive. And I think with TJ, same thing, playing really well right now, but there's still so many things that he can do better. And the best thing about him, as is the situation with all of our freshmen, is these guys want to be coached, and they want to get better.
But you've gone up against a couple really elite big guys in Luka Garza and Steven Enoch. Now, how happy are you with the interior defense from you guys? Is that an area where you kind of mix it up a little bit, or you kind of have a strategy that works?
It's something we definitely got to improve on. We're not the biggest team, with the exception of Russ, who played really well against Louisville. We won those minutes when Russ was on the floor. He's getting better. I think he's really close to having a breakthrough moment game. But back to the question on post defense, I mean, it's a work in progress. We have to play several different ways. We've had some teams over the years where the personnel allows you to kind of have a set identity. Hey, this is how we're going to guard the post. Let's get it done. This year's team, we have to have a little bit more diversity to our plan. So I think we've seen some of that. We did some good things against Garza. But obviously he's one of the best players in college basketball. Played fantastic last night against a really good Iowa State team. Did you know that, Carlos? Yeah. Yeah, teeth or gum? Yeah, good player. Like him. Really like him. I'm glad we don't have to play against him again. But yeah, we did some good things against him, but obviously exposed some weaknesses too. And I think the same thing in the Louisville game. We battled. We came up with some steals late against that high-low, but definitely we got to continue to kind of, figure out, hey, here's some things that we can do post defense-wise this year to have a chance to be successful. So it's a work in progress.